Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, the Joker has cleaned up at the box office. Arthur is doing very well for himself. Don't think he's going to have to be worried about money anymore. The film made 93.5 million for its opening, that's including Thursdays. It also did a foreign box office of $140.5 million, so that's $234 million all up. Now, supposedly it had a budget. I've heard estimates between 55 and 60 million and 70 million, and I've heard at least one estimate for the advertising and promotion for about 120 million, so 190 million all up. So they've made that back in the opening weekend. Now the first preview screenings on Thursday got 13.3 million, which is pretty much huge. Um, it is the biggest October opening ever for a film, and it's the fourth biggest R-rated opening. So it was beaten by Deadpool 1, which got 123.4 million, Deadpool 2, which got 125.5 million, and It Chapter 1 with 123.4 million. But I don't think they were in the same month. I think those films all opened earlier in the summer blockbuster sort of season, whereas The Joker is opening in October. So I think it's a little bit. You can't exactly compare them, but yeah. So far as R-rated film openings, it's the fourth highest rated, and he bet Venom, which got 80.2 million. Halloween 2018, which got 76.2 million, and Gravity, which got 55.7 million. And The Martian 54.3 million. So it's done really well. It's kind of surprised people. There were estimates that it would take 50, 60 million at the box office originally, and then it sort of went up to 80s, and some people were saying 90. So I'm pretty happy with it. I was hoping it would do well, but I wasn't. I was kind of afraid with all the negative reviews and all the stories about possible incel violence and attacks and everything. And I actually thought, and there are some suggestions that a few people didn't go to the film because they were afraid there was going to be some shooting or something. Now, there wasn't. So, what else do we have here? Yeah, it was over 4,324 theatres, which did get a very big opening, and a lot of people were talking about that. Like I myself, I saw the film on Thursday, and when I went on Sunday, I wanted to watch a couple of films. I was going to watch something else instead, but nothing was showing really because there were only like one or two sessions for the other films. Everything else was Joker, so I couldn't see any films on Sunday because it was all Joker. I already seen Joker. And I guess comparison to other DC movies, it did better than Justice League, and it did better than Shazam, the original Captain Marvel. So I don't know what that got. I think that made about 300 million all up. That didn't do very well, which I'm really surprised because it was a really good film and I loved it. Now, so far as there are reports of people walking out of the theatre. I know of one friend who said his friend walked out, but there are stories of mass walkouts and stuff like this. I don't think that happened. A lot of the stories, no one seems to be able to back it up with anything like tweets and photos or anything. That just seems to be a bit of a media beat up. I'm sure there are a few random people who walked out because they perhaps are more familiar with superhero films and not horror movies, and they want not really ready for the gore or the darkness or the grimness of the movie. So I can imagine a few people walking out, but it wasn't a huge thing. I do think some people stayed away because of the threats or the implied threats and the media beat up. I heard one example of Matt Jarvo on his page Feedback Theatre was saying that there were people who, well, he spoke to the cinema owner and he had 16 screens or something, and 14 I think were showing the Joker, and they only had 250 seats bought out, although I think this was an early screen early in the day at that point. But that I think some people did stay away. And the interesting thing is, how will the second week drop off go, because a lot of people who probably avoided the cinema because of the threats or supposed threats will go second weekend. Now they've seen, oh, it's safe. And the other issue, of course, is word of mouth. And reviewings. A lot of people, I'm going to go see it again, partly because I was too busy writing notes for my video and and texting and doing stuff that I missed a few points because there's not a lot of dialogue in the film, and there are a couple of things I just wasn't paying attention, and there was no audio happening at the moment. And I looked up and something was happening. I'm like, oh damn! So there's a few things I've missed. So I want to go back and see it. And also, it was just good enough. I want to see it again, and I want to give it my money as well. I try to support the films I actually like and give them my money when I can. So sometimes I'll see them twice just because. I mean, I could wait for DVD. It's going to be out in like a month, which I find really disturbing how quickly movies are out on DVD now. Like I go through JB Hi-Fi, which is the chain in Australia where we get all our DVDs, and there's like, oh, just wait, I just saw that a week ago and it's on DVD now. I'm like, I don't understand the marketing of that. I know people don't like to wait, but also they don't have to see the film in the cinema because that's a whole nother video. But now there was a report of in California there was a screening. There was some obnoxious guy who apparently poured a bunch of, I think, tequila into his drink, into his slushy or something. Was and where are my screenshots? He apparently was spitting at people and laughing very loudly whenever the Joker killed someone, and I think this was in Huntington Beach, but don't quote me on that because I can't find my screen caps of the article I was reading. And supposedly some people confronted him very peacefully, and he was escorted out because apparently, supposedly a third of the theatre or 2/3 of the theatre left thinking this guy was going to go crazy or something. So, and then they asked him to leave, they escorted him out. And I heard another report of people leaving the theatre because someone appeared to be scoping out the theatre. That they were looking around and they thought this person was looking around to prepare to do a shooting. Now, I haven't been able to find the article for that. I saw something and now I can't find it. So I'm not really sure if that happened. Maybe it was just fake news. And the other thing, it was reported that AMC was blocking single seats, so patrons couldn't go and buy a single seat. The idea being that someone going to shoot the place up would go there alone. So if you didn't sell any single seats and you sold groups, then maybe you could stop the person getting cinema, I guess. But apparently that didn't happen either. So there's a lot of fake news and media beat-ups, and a lot of people are saying, including Mecca Random, who posted a really good, I don't think she made it, but a meme where the media's like, oh my god, there's going to be shootings. Oh my god, there's going to be shootings. Oh, please, let there be shootings. We need shootings for clicks, you know. The media, like the news was saying that, had a little person with it's a comic. It's hard to explain the comic. But I thought, yeah, that's kind of how it is. It's like they wanted a big tragedy and something to report on and carry on about and vilify the film with. And they were kind of like trying to inspire it almost. And I kind of felt that. And a lot of people felt that as well, that the media really was sort of like really trying to set it up so it would happen. And I actually thought it would. I actually thought some crazy person's going to see all this press and think, oh, I can have that press. I can have that attention. I can be the Joker killer. I thought someone was going to do it. Not in Australia. I felt perfectly safe. Apparently, New York, California, a few other cities in America stepped up their police presence at cinemas, and that's a bit funny. Apparently, actually, no, there's also a story of people walking out in New York as well. I've been looking at articles all day, and I did some screen captures and I wrote some notes, but I actually can't remember all the things I saw. But this really shouldn't be the subject, though. I'm talking about this, and other people are talking about this. We really should be talking about mental illness, and what the film really says is it doesn't support or glorify violence. It says basically we need more kindness. We need to help people. If someone had been kind to him, if he had one real person in his life, everybody failed him. If he had one real person in his life that talked to him and was a friend, he wouldn't have gone this way. And that's the real message of the film, is how society abandons people, and especially the mentally ill, and how society and the system failed him. Um, no money for healthcare, no money for meds, no money for therapy. The insane cost of therapy in Latin America. Matt Java did a really good job of that. I'm not going to try and not going to try and cover that really. Um, but that's what people should be talking about instead of talking about, oh, incel violence, blah, blah, blah. But I wanted to do a video on the box office, and it wasn't very long, and I thought, well, I'll talk about this as well and stretch it out a bit. Because I did kind of want to talk about it, but I didn't really think it deserved its own video. But it is interesting. I thought something would happen. Now, in Australia, the only thing I saw, which I found was odd, was they have the people who sometimes have the candy trolleys they roll in to get people to buy stuff at the start, and they normally leave and they don't come back. But I noticed they stayed the whole time, and they stood on the side of the cinema. And when I left, I noticed there was 4 of them, which is more than normal. I think 1 or 2 of them might have been security, and they might have just been there to watch and to keep an eye on the audience, which I thought was a bit weird. This is in Hoyts in Melbourne Central on the opening night, the 6:30, 7 o'clock screening. So I don't know if that's normal. I don't remember seeing that many people, and they seem to all have walkie-talkies and have people talking to them and that, which seemed a bit complicated for selling candy. So I'm not sure if they're a bit paranoid everywhere. It might not just be America. But nothing happened. Now, I stood up at the front. I sit in the front row always, centre. And I stood up and had a look around to see how many people were there. And I took a photo of the audience. And then I heard that some people were freaked out because someone had stood up and was like scoping the audience. And I thought, oh, gee, I didn't realise that. People are kind of paranoid. People might have thought something weird about me doing that. The one random guy sitting at the very front of the cinema. And I did laugh at a few things. And two things what I mentioned, I did laugh at some of the deaths. I not laugh out loud, but I did kind of think they deserved it, and I think the film, is designed to make you feel that. And the other thing that people need to keep focusing on is that he let the little person go because that was the only person who was kind to him. Much like the killers in Columbine, which Matt Jarvo pointed out, which I'd forgotten, they let people go who had been nice to them. They only killed the people who had teased them or hurt them or they had some issue with. So you get what you deserve. It's not society. You can't tread on people and expect not to get something back. Now, that doesn't justify it. I don't think, I'm a pacifist. I don't think you should actually go out and hurt anyone. But when someone hurts someone and then someone retaliates, I have trouble having sympathy for that person because you get what you deserve. So you probably should be nice to people. I'm going to try and be nicer to people. I'm a non-violent person. I'm a pacifist, but I am very sarcastic and very bitchy. And I need to calm that down a bit because you never know when you could be the one little thing that makes someone snap after a whole bunch of problems. So I'm going to be a bit nicer to people. That should be the message of the film. But I'm going to leave it there. Feel free to like, subscribe, or leave comments. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me what you think. Thanks. Bye.